It's been a few days since my last update, and these days have been the craziest of my life, or afterlife, I suppose. I had been body hopping around trying to put as much distance between myself and the cult chasing me. I hadn't seen any sight of them, but I also have no clue how big or how much power they have. Not to mention they have a god helping them. I decided I would take a plane to somewhere in Europe. Eventually, I decided upon Germany. I'm pretty sure I had some German heritage in me and I wasn't exactly sure where else I would go. So I picked it when I saw there would be a plane departing soon. I helped myself to a body that was seated in first class and I attempted to relax. My relaxation attempt was cut short, however. Since I had taken a body in first class, I had boarded first. I was sat isolated from the main section of the plane. There was no way for me to know that no one else had entered the plane. It took me a few minutes to notice that I was completely alone in first class. I stood up a bit anxious and began to make my way to where I had entered the plane. As I approached the entrance, I saw a few large men in suits, and they began to walk towards me. I knew I was trapped, but I still attempted to turn around and run to the back of the plane. Before I could, I felt a quick pain in my neck, and I fell unconscious. When I woke up, I noticed I was still in the body of the wealthy stranger I had taken. However, I was in a straitjacket now. Not only that, but there was some sort of mouthpiece holding my teeth down. This prevented me from moving my mouth whatsoever. I looked up to see that there was a young man sitting next to me. He was probably early 20s, he had dark brown hair and bright green eyes. He had strong facial features and almost seemed to be glowing. "I'm sorry about the restraints. They're only temporary. We didn't want to have to chase you again." He almost seemed to be waiting for a response, but then he must have remembered I was incapable of giving one, so he continued on his own. "You have nothing to fear. Our God has gifted us with you, and you shall lead us. I have been given the honor to become one with you. Soon we will share a body as we lead the world to new heights." His voice was almost hypnotic. I found myself entranced by his words. I had no clue what this cult had planned, but his body certainly wouldn't be a bad place to call home. While I was replaying what he said in my head, I didn't notice that he'd begun to move closer. Before I knew it, he was right in front of me. He expertly pulled out a blade and slit the throat of the body I was in. I was ejected from the body as it went limp. Before I could react, the man grabbed my hand. I found myself in the cultist's body. Even though I had full control, something felt different. This body just felt right. Even better than the one I had spent over a year in. It was as if this body was truly the one I was meant to be in. Maybe this cult knew a few things after all. After a few moments, I heard a door behind me opened. A few people in robes entered the room. They were of various ages and appearance, but they all shared one characteristic: green eyes. Once about 10 of them had entered the room, they began to kneel. One of the older ones in front began to speak. "We've been blessed by your awakening. Hopefully the body we chose for you is suitable for now. You may replace it in the future if you wish." "What do you want from me?" I replied. "We already have our plans prepared. We simply wish for you to guide us in the new world. Will you?" Yes. I had said it without hesitation, but why? I didn't even know what this cult's plan was. Why did I say yes so quickly? Then I remembered whose body I was in. Does he still have influence over me? He hadn't tried to kick me out. Well, he had actually forced me inside. It was unlike any other times I had taken a body. I thought I was in full control, but could it be possible the cultist still had some power over his body? After my agreement, all of the cultists that had already been kneeling began to press their heads into the ground as if in prayer. However, the older one that had been speaking to me stood up. "I knew you wouldn't fail us. Please, follow me. I have much to show you, Master," he said. He showed me everything. This cult is much larger than I expected. There are thousands of followers, and many of them in places of power. As I'm sure you can already guess, all of them have green eyes. Their grand plan is something incredibly sinister. They've all been ingrained in positions of power for centuries, but they've never made any real moves. With my existence, however, they're ready to act. They believe my rebirth calls for a rebirth of the planet. They have the firepower to do it, too. I could probably stop them, but I don't know that I want to anymore. Once most of the world's population is gone, I will be the one to rule over those who are left. Perhaps it's this body that's made me think this way, but I'm not so sure anymore. So, why am I telling you all this? Well, it's mostly because I can. There's nothing you can do to stop what's coming, but if you have green eyes, perhaps I can save you. For the rest of you, try to enjoy the time you have left.